time. I did want to conclude one more time by thanking all the partners, your ministry to start with as co-host, but also the Chambers of Commerce that we've had, the teams of Transparency International who've also really helped in the preparation. Thank you to all of you. And again, the two sponsors and funders. And last but certainly not least, I do want to recognize my own team led by Renée Traikova with Mishu and Steffi and somewhere Boriana in the room as well. They did a tremendous job. So I do want to thank you all for the great work. With that, dear Assen, concluding remarks, followed by concluding remarks from Nicola, and then we can have lunch. So keep it short, we're hungry.
Thank you very much. I think I've said more than enough. So just a couple of points from the discussion. First, I think it's good that we have this discussion. I think this is the beginning of an open dialogue with the business, but also with society at large about the tough questions and the tough issues, because this is not black and white. And if we pretend like it's black and white, I think that's going to be problematic. I think the other thing that we see is that this is not only about changing the laws and doing law enforcement. That's part of it, big part of it, but there is a much larger part of it in how we actually conduct business, how we conduct government affairs. Sometimes simple things can be pretty revolutionary, like following the existing laws, like more transparency in certain processes, like what Minister Tsekov said, checking the quality of the roads and calling on the guarantees, so that the guarantees are not just a piece of paper. I think that's kind of the internal dimension of what we're talking about. But we've been also making the point about the external dimension. A lot of corruption, not only in Bulgaria, everywhere in the world, is possible because of secrecy. And the two main problems related to secrecy are the problem with company registers and the problem with hiding the real ultimate beneficial owners of the assets. Because large corruption that can really corrode society, happens because of that secrecy. We don't know who owns what. Give an example. If we had open registers, corporate registers, we would know who owns the main media channels in Bulgaria. Now we don't. We have to guess or trust the declaration. In the Bulgarian trade registry, it's open, so you can see the companies and physical persons, and you can trace that. But then you get to a foreign company owning part of a Bulgarian company, and there we rely on a declaration about the ultimate beneficial owners, which may or may not be true. And if you don't file it, the fine is 1,000 levs. And these are simple but very hard steps to take in the world, I think, not only in Bulgaria, to really fight grand corruption. And we have to fight grand corruption for two reasons. One is it's very corroding to society. The other one is this is a main channel of political influence in specific countries by governments who use corruption as a tool. And we've seen that in Europe, we've seen it in Africa, we've seen it in Latin America. Corruption is used as a foreign policy tool by a large number of countries. And I'm afraid not opening the corporate registers and not going after the enablers, gatekeepers, or facilitators, or whatever we call them, is partly driven by the fact that nobody really wants to know the truth. And I think if what we saw in the Panama Papers is a small glimpse of that, if we open the BVI registers, if we open the Nevada and Delaware registers, if we open all the registers in Liechtenstein, we are going to see a pretty unpleasant truth. But we have to face it if we want to fix the system and get governments to really work in for the benefit of their people and their own country, and not for the benefit of some foreign powers. And that's a fight much bigger than Bulgaria. That's a fight where we need all the international allies. And that's a fight where we are willing to contribute as much as we can, and maybe even a little bit more. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. And I have to say, the fact that you've been with us the entire day, I think, speaks volumes in terms of your commitment. Thank you. And now, Nicola Bonucci, the tough job of the last word, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Gretta. Very difficult, Minister, to follow up on you. So I will be much more prosaic and go back to this issue of collective action. And in fact, while I was listening to the various panelists, and this was really a fascinating experience, I look at the definition of the word collective, and I look at the definition of the word action. So collective means done by people acting as a group. And action, the fact of process of doing something typically to achieve an aim. So I think at the end of the day, if we can summarize collective action, I will summarize this through the 3 Ps, which are not the public-private partnership, but people, process, and purpose. It's all about people, it's all about process, it's all about purpose. And you need to have convergence on those 3. You need to have the right people dedicated and committed to at least engage in a dialogue and open to a dialogue. You need to establish a process which, as I said, is built on trust and is building trust. And you need to have a purpose for that process. What I can say here is that we believe, I say we, I haven't consulted Gretta, so I hope she agrees. We believe at the Basel Institute of Governance that Bulgaria is ripe for collective action. And I would say a collective action done by Bulgarian people for the Bulgarian people. So it was really, the debate, in particular in the last panel, was super interesting for me. We are ready to assist. We're ready to assist the establishment of a multi-stakeholder forum as a platform for collective action. We are ready to provide examples, but then you will need to find your own way, your own priorities, your own initiatives, because at the end of the day, you are right, you are in an international environment. There is a lot which is not in your control. And I wish the U.S. ambassador would have stayed until the end of the morning this morning. But there is also a lot which is not in his control. But there is still a lot that it is in the control of the Bulgarian people. And you know, we have been talking also about motivations and what drives people. It is for you to find your own way. And I'll leave it to this. Thank you.